Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to the Human Resources and Education Committee meeting as a whole for February 6th, 7th, I'm sorry. And we are going to skip the, we need a roll call. Can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Green. Mrs. Heinz. Mr. Derman. Mr. Loop. Mr. Harrell. Mr. Nation. Mrs. Richardson. Mr. Winkler. Mrs. Drucker.
Here.
Mr. Bittencourt.
In honor of Ms. Mullet, who is in attendance, I will say present. There you go.
Mrs. Lamy.
Present.
Mr. Hersey.
Here.
Mr. Bro.
Here.
Mr. Kuzan.
Here.
Mrs. Page.
Present.
Thank you. We're going to skip the invocation and pledges of allegiance since we've already had that. We're going to go to item C, recognition of visitors by board members.
Mr. Kuzan, if I could. I would like to recognize former board president, Mrs. Robin Mullet, who's in attendance tonight. Good to see you.
Anybody else?
I would like to recognize my posse, no, I'm just kidding, my former assistant principal, Kelly Ainsworth, and, please wave hi, everybody knows who you are, and my twins teacher, Tana McNeese, who is phenomenal, and her teacher resident, who is phenomenal, Miss Carol, and a former second grade student who is a teacher resident, Samantha O'Neill. So thank you all for being here.
Anyone else?
Yes, I would just like to say welcome and thank you so much to all. Oh, thanks. So I just want to say thank you so much for all the interns in District 15 and actually all Tammany Parish that are here tonight. Thank you so much. We're so excited.
Thank you very much, board members. We'd like to move now to the public comments section of the meeting. The person requesting time on the agenda. Do we have any 5 minutes? No. Do we have any 3 minutes? No, sir. Then we're going to move on to the agenda items. The first item on the agenda we have is approval of the minutes for the meeting held on December 6, 2018. Can I get a motion? Ms. Hines?
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Hines and second by Mr. Bettencourt. We're going to vote on the machine. Board members, would you please vote?
You have to vote.
How many is it?
13 yeas, 2 abstains.
13 yeas and 2 abstentions. Any comments or questions from the board? Hear none. Any comments or questions from the public? No, thank you. I should have said that before. We're going to move on to the next item. The second item. Human Resources. Mr. Pitcher.
You don't have anything.
Mr. Jab, you don't have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll move to instruction. Teacher resident, Ms. Dangerfield.
Good evening, Superintendent Foss, Mr. Kuzan, and board members. I am excited to share with you one of our most important and valuable partnerships. Of course, that is the training of future teachers. Back in October of 2016, Bessie made a big change to teacher preparation, moving student teaching from 1 semester to a year-long residency program. So what exactly is teacher residency? Well, here are some important words that I'd like to bring to your attention. Full year classroom residency. That means that the student teachers will be in the classroom for 1 full year, starting at the beginning of the school year all the way to the last day of school. Experienced mentor teacher. That means that they will be paired with a mentor teacher who will provide support for the entire year in which they are in the residency. And competency-based curriculum. The university will provide a competency-based curriculum so they will be prepared once they come to us. The residency program is aligned to state expectations. Field intensive. The student teachers participate in field experience even before they get to the residency program, and of course, the entire time they are a part of the residency program. It's competency-based because it's aligned to the Louisiana state standards with the curriculum that they are exposed to. It aims to build residents' capacity for success because they receive support throughout the program. 2 teachers in 1 classroom, it's improving student achievement. And the coursework, with experience, that's theory to practice, and the teacher mentor and the student teacher working together with the co-teaching model. It's no longer the student teacher sitting in the back of the class for the first couple of weeks. Then the first subject they usually teach is spelling. Then the next subject they usually teach is language. Then the next subject they usually teach is social studies. It's no more of that. The 2 are teaching together when they enter the classroom. This year, I'm happy to say that we have partnered with 3 universities for our student teachers, Loyola, Southeastern, as well as ULM. Our schools. We have 8 schools that have opened their doors to help train our future teachers, and those 8 schools are listed here. Our mentor teachers. In identifying our mentor teachers, these are the qualifications that we looked for. Those teachers with 3 years of experience, providing a positive impact on the students. We looked at their evaluations, and of course, those teachers willing to co-teach, because you know some teachers like their own classrooms by themselves, but they had to be willing to co-teach, attend professional learning seminars in order to prepare for the student teacher, and then they had to learn how to evaluate the student teacher according to the university expectations. Now, we took those qualifications and developed an application and interview process, and we have 20 mentor teachers in the district. And I mean, we have 20 that are committed, highly qualified, effective, engaging. They're coaches, they're instructional leaders, they're game changers. They help, they support, they mold, they train. I think you get the picture now. They are committed to their teacher candidates. We have 16 teacher candidates in the certified areas that you see here. 7 of them are St. Tammany graduates, and 2 of them are our own paraprofessionals that once they complete the teacher residency program, they will become teachers. Once they become a part of our school system for the residency program, we treat them just like a new teacher. The first thing they have to do is go through our employee background check. They have to go through new teacher induction. They go through the first 2 professional days just like a new teacher. They have to attend the first faculty meeting, open house, parent conferences, family night, and prepare the classroom for the first day of school just like a regular teacher, and they never look back. Here are some more of our beauties that are hardworking in our schools, working with our children. The framework of the program requires that the school system and the university work together to ensure that we are planning the best for our student teachers. We collaborate to make sure that the university's expectations are met. We work together to define what the co-teaching model is going to look like. We meet quarterly with governance meetings, and that's the central office staff, the university, and the principals working together to see what the data looks like from the teacher candidates in the classroom and what additional professional development they may need, or the mentor teachers. And the benefits of the program. Differentiated instruction. You now have 2 teachers in the classroom working with the students. We have an opportunity to train future teachers, and what more, a direct pipeline to qualified teachers to come to our job fair. Now you've heard from me. What about residency in action? Miss Camille Seeger, who is a Covington High School graduate, is going to share her story with you. She is currently teaching 2nd grade at Whispering Forest Elementary. She is a dual certification from Southeastern in special education and elementary 1 through 5. That means she has 2 mentor teachers, Ms. Bowling for 2nd grade and Ms. Beacom for special education. Ms. Seeger?
Good evening. My name is Camille Seeger. I'm a proud Southeastern teacher candidate enrolled in the residency program. I had the pleasure of being placed in St. Tammany Parish's very own Whispering Forest Elementary School in Slidell. I'm here today to share my experience as a resident. The factor of the residency program that allows my experience to be unique is my major. When I graduate, I will be duly certified in elementary education as well as special education for elementary students. Therefore, my field experience hours are split between a special education class and a regular education class. At first, I was hesitant in doing the residency program. I was extremely anxious going to a school I'd never been to and into teachers' classrooms. But my anxiety was put at ease as soon as I entered Whispering Forest. Because the residency program provides all teacher candidates with an authentic teaching experience, I reported on teacher preparation days. When I entered, the faculty and staff at Whispering Forest greeted me with warm smiles, kind words, and open arms. My mentor teachers, Heather Beacom and Melanie Bowling, opened their classrooms to me. They explained St. Tammany's expectations for the beginning of the year and allowed me to help them set up and plan for the opening day of school. This authentic teaching component of the residency program is one I would not have experienced in the traditional student teaching format. The first week of school with students was very interesting. I had learned so many things from Southeastern, from classroom management plans to differentiating content, process, and products. But one thing Southeastern could not teach me is how to get to know my students in my class. I am in Ms. Beacom's 1st grade special education class and Ms. Bowling's 2nd grade regular education class. Their classroom management plans are different. Their environments are different. But both of these teachers' classrooms were created by the teachers to fit the needs of their students. Although different, both classes utilize grit, are filled with students who continually blossom and are eager to learn due to the teachers' familiarity with their students and their learning styles. First semester of residency required me to attend Whispering Forest Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Southeastern on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I would go to Southeastern for class. At first, I thought it was outrageous. I was required to write lesson plans for both. After a week into school, my opinion quickly changed. I was able to take new strategies I learned at Southeastern and discuss them with my mentor teachers. I was able to teach my class at Southeastern the different techniques that my mentors taught me. Having to go to Southeastern and Whispering Forest opened up new collaboration opportunities and communication lines, which allowed everyone involved to be lifelong learners. At the end of semester 1, which is how long student teaching is, I felt like a penguin. I would flap my wings, but I could not fly. I would teach, but I could not pinpoint the areas I needed to improve on without my mentor's help and discussion. Now, finishing my 6th week of my 2nd semester in the residency program, I no longer feel like a penguin. I can identify the areas I need improvement on and come up with ways to improve because of my 2 outstanding mentor teachers and site coordinator who have and continue to mold me to be the best teacher I can be. The Whispering Forest staff is more than willing to help me with all the challenges I bring them, and they know I bring them a lot. Although the year-long residency program is a financial hardship due to the rigor and amount of work required at school and university levels, I believe it to be an invaluable experience for me on the road to my new career. In conclusion, the residency experience and program is one I think everyone should have the opportunity to complete because it gives an authentic teaching experience. Although it is a new paradigm of student teaching, the program has a building capacity to help young teachers make a seamless and successful transition into their own classrooms, impacting future generations in a positive way.
As the candidates continue the second semester, they will have support from the university as well as our school system. At this time, I would like to introduce the student teachers as well as their support system to you. When I call your name, if you could please stand. From Bonnie Cole Elementary, we have Bailey Carroll and her mentor teacher, Tana McNeese. We have Hannah Fork and her teacher, mentor teacher, Abigail Clemens. And their assistant principal, Kelly Ainsworth. From Boyette Junior High, we have Mallory Miller and her mentor teacher, Lauren Bethencourt. From Cypress Cove Elementary, we have Misty McFadden and Lauren Grow, and their principal, Lisa Dial. From Honey Island Elementary, we have Samantha O'Neill and her mentor teacher, Danielle Daigle. Christine Hubble and her mentor teacher, Allison Trahan. And their principal, Mary Jane Smith. From Little Oak Middle School. First, we have Bethany, who decided to get married on us. Bethany Leto and her mentor teacher, Yvette Scariano. Emily Ernest and her mentor teacher, Amy Burkell. Okay, Claire Michelle and her mentor teacher, Patricia Mendoza. And their principal, Kim Vanderklees. From Whispering Forest, we have the one and only, you just saw her, Camille Seeger, and her mentor teacher, Heather Beacom. Stephanie McDougall and her mentor teacher, Nicole Messina. Ashley Knaps and her mentor teacher, Amy Gallagher. And their principal, Mimi Leonard. From Riverside Elementary, we have Jenna Creeth and her mentor teacher, Natalie Babington. From Creekside Junior High, we have Maria Barrios and her mentor teacher, Lynn Dejean. We look forward to our continued success with our partnerships with Loyola, Southeastern, and the University of Louisiana Monroe. And representing Southeastern tonight, we have Jean Brooks. That concludes my report. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Dangerfield.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to first of all thank all the teachers and the students for their attendance here tonight. And we think that that's such a wonderful program, and we hope that to see a lot of you employed in the St. Tammany Parish school system in the very near future.
Amen.
I'd like to also ask Ms. Seeley, the one that made the presentation, how much time do you split between special education and regular education?
This is a difficult topic.
On the record, it's supposed to be 75% in regular ed and 25% in special ed, but it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
So I let my mentor teachers and I had some collaboration to figure it out. And I want to be a sped teacher. And the 25%, in my opinion, wasn't enough. So we decided to split the hours 50-50. So first semester, I would go to Miss Beacom for ELA and in the morning. And the afternoon, I would go to Miss Bowling in the afternoons. And now we're doing it where I switch every day. So Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, I'll be with one, and then just switch it the next week. So every other day, full day.
Thank you. Thank
Not
you
a
very
problem.
much.
Thank you.
Board members, any board members have any comment? Mr. Lou, and then Mr. Harold, Mr. Durman.
Thank you, Mr. Kuzan.
I'm sorry.
You were first.
We'll
Yeah,
start with,
Ms. Dangerfield, just wanted to, I didn't see any high schools listed on these schools. Are we not maybe having a group this year that are in high schools for our student teachers?
The teacher residency program hasn't made it up to the high school level yet.
So if there was one that was interested in that secondary, they just wouldn't go through this program?
No, we haven't had any. Like, the most we have with the residency program is for Southeastern, and Southeastern does not have any high schools that's participating in the residency program. They go up to 8th grade.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Durman?
Thank you, Mr. Kuzan. Ms. Dangerfield, looking at the schools that, like Mr. Luke mentioned, all of them appear to be on the eastern side of the parish.
Yes.
And, I mean, I see we have a lot of southeastern students. So is there, I mean, have we considered splitting that up a little bit? I mean, or is there a
Yes.
reason why they're all over there?
Yes. Last year,
Explain
they
it
were
to me
all
then.
on the west end of the parish.
Okay.
So this year, we decided to go to the east end of the parish. And in the preparation for next year, we'll have a set on the east side and a set on the west side.
Okay, because I think that makes a little more logistical sense, especially if we're having students going to and from our schools, that if we can actually pair them up in a community setting where they actually live and keep them from driving long distances, because I see one of them was, you know, from CHS, my old Lion stomping grounds, so.
And then-
And, you know, I'm just saying.
But I do think, Mr. Durman, you would agree that it's important that all the schools have the opportunity to do this.
Absolutely.
Not just the schools on the west. I think we said west last year, east this year, and then we'll do both next year. So it is an opportunity to spread it across the entire parish.
Right,
And
and
that's what our
I
thought
agree,
process was.
splitting it both ways. I was just curious if it was for test scores or
No, it was for
something.
to spread across the parish, the talent of these teachers. Last year was west, this year it was important to do it for the east as
I
well.
was just curious.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not
also,
being
No, I
critical,
know, but I just want you to understand that I think we have a responsibility to spread it across the parish.
Yeah,
And
I'd
I-
like to do more of it. That's what I'd like to do, just
and
do some more.
also, Mr. Durman, when working with Southeastern, because the majority of them are from Southeastern, because of their site coordinators, they asked us to keep the schools clustered together.
I got
So
you.
when they have a site coordinator that has multiple schools, if they're
Well,
clustered
that
together,
makes more
it will
sense,
make
you
it
know,
easier
to
for
me
them.
now, understanding that component of it.
Yes.
I just, you know, I think this is invaluable for us for recruitment and everything
Yes.
else. And I mean, it lets them see what we're like and it lets us see what they're like. So I think this is a great partnership all the way
Yes.
around, and I applaud everyone for their efforts. I know it's very time consuming for both the students and our teachers, so, and our administrators. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Broad?
Thank you. I agree that with Mr. Durman that I'd like to see more of it. I think it's a wonderful program. It gives the teachers, the student teachers, a way to learn from the best, and it also gives us a pipeline to these students. But I'm wondering, you know, we have 1,000 students, we have 55 schools. Why only 20? What's the long pole of the tent? And by the way, I appreciate that they're in the eastern part of the parish system.
I'm sure you would.
The way,
Share next year.
the way that it works is that we partner with the universities, and in partnering with the universities, we just don't get them, we are assigned the mentor teachers. For example, with Southeastern, we go and we have interviews with the teacher candidates that are interested in coming to St. Tammany, and we usually take all of the ones that are interested in coming, to us.
Okay, well, that
And then-
answered my question. I know we're capable of handling more. It's the pipeline of teachers that's the
Right.
problem. Okay,
That's
thank you.
what you have to remember. Yes.
Ms. Lamy?
Yes, I just want to say again how much I appreciate the program. I could really relate when you started your presentation with student teaching when I had to do all the extra stuff because my cooperating teacher made me do everything and the other girls at the school didn't. And at the end, I realized how much more prepared and better of a teacher I was because of it. So while I know it's super hard, especially financially, you're doing the job without getting paid, but you're going to be so prepared and you're going to do such a great job. And to the mentor teachers, it really does take a lot to release some control over your classroom. We joke about that, but it's like someone else disciplining your child when you're standing there and you're like, hold up, I can do that, So that's how it is for a teacher. So it takes a lot. And I've had the privilege of witnessing this program as a parent who has two children in the class, and the benefit for the students is tremendous, really tremendous. Smaller groups, and the student teacher gets to experience so many different opportunities that they wouldn't have in one semester, and they get to walk through it with their mentor teacher to truly be prepared. So I want to just tell you thank you for all the extra work. I know it's hard, but it's going to pay off. That's all.
Mr. Bettencourt?
Thank you, Mr. Kuzan. Ms. Dangerfield, are the mentors given any additional salary, and are the trainees paid anything? Seems like we were told when this first started that they would get a stipend or something?
Yes, they both get a stipend, the student teachers as well as the mentor teachers.
And
It's
from
not a
where?
lot, but they get it. It's a grant that we write and receive from the state.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Which is
From where
running
does the
out.
money come?
It comes from the state.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's not taken from our MFP money?
No.
Okay, well, that's a surprise in and of itself. I've heard lots of new teachers that I've talked to through, 16 years and beyond on the board, that some of them felt like one semester was sufficient. And I wish there was a program where when a teacher felt like she was ready after one semester, could move on, as opposed to this mandate of, you have to do a whole year. So I'd like to see where that kind of shows itself somewhere down the line, where these teachers get a little input on, I'm ready now, I don't need another semester, but that may not happen.
They changed the policy, so I doubt it will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Richardson?
Ms. Dangerfield, I cannot even begin to tell you how tickled I am to hear this. There are 100 reasons why this is so exciting. I do have a question, though. Who started this program? Is this something St. Tammany Parish started, or?
It's a new policy with Bessie.
It is with the Bessie Board. Okay, that's really encouraging. It's no secret. Especially in the campaign, I talk a lot about just how we do, not just on a state level, but a national level as well as an international level. And this is such a phenomenal step that, first of all, it increases the competitive of what's going on. And while a teacher may feel one semester is good for them, the mentor teacher may feel differently, or the principal may feel differently. And we can all learn to eat some humble pie. So I commend you for the work that I can't even begin. There's 1,000 reasons why this is so good. And right now, in fact, just let me throw a stat at you. 83% of teachers are far more successful through a mentoring program such as this. So again, I applaud you and thank you for your work.
Thank you. It's our work.
Agreed.
Ms. Drucker?
I echo the same sentiments. I had a question in regards to, do you think we'll ever incorporate certification areas like in foreign languages where, since we're looking at a global society now with different languages, I see the certification areas are in math, science, special ed, biology. But I was wondering, do you ever think French, Spanish, even Chinese, do you think a foreign language would be incorporated in that?
I think some of it is going to depend on whether or not they have the students in those areas, because it's no secret now we have difficulties finding people to fill those vacancies when we need them because the supply is not there. So I think it would depend, and I'm just guesstimating because I'm not in the preparation area of this, is the supply of the people going into those fields.
I was just thinking that possibly if we kind of groom them from this level, that we
Yes.
could kind of groom them into our school system. So it just, food for thought.
Yes, and we do have our Star Academy in our high schools that we do plant seeds of becoming a teacher. But since we've been doing that, I don't think we had any foreign language. It's the typical majors.
Well, I think that's an area that we can kind of maybe try to put some seeds in and have it sprout. But I commend all these teachers to be here, and it's a wonderful program. And definitely, I mean, an apprenticeship to see what it's like, what a real job would look like. I mean, that is leap years ahead.
Yes.
And so congratulations, ladies, and thank you so much for your devotion to our system.
They're awesome.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Drucker. Mr. Winkler?
Yes, I just want to let you know that a lot of people talk about education, but these people sitting here do it every day. And I want to thank y'all. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Ms. Dangerfield, I'd like to
Yes.
thank you for a very good report.
Thank you.
And right now, we'd like to move on to science textbooks report with Ms. LeBlanc. Were you completed? I'm sorry. Did you have anything
Yes,
else?
no, I am.
Okay.
They did some.
I cut it off by accident.
They messed up with this.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesus. I made the press. I did the same thing. Tag it.
Teachers, y'all can leave. You have to get up early tomorrow.
Wait, hold on. Yes?
Ask her to make a comment about the
Who's that?
program.
Would you come up to the podium, please?
Good evening. I was a St. Tammany employee and retired
Would
after
you
34
would you
years.
state your name, please, for the
Tom
record?
Seeger, retired teacher in St. Tammany Parish with 34 years. The residency program is a very good thing. You mentioned how much these candidates started from day one. There are other parishes, and I think this parish needs to be aware, there are other parishes recruiting from this residency program. They're offering a 3-year contract upon completion of the program, and they're offering the salary for the beginning teachers. They're giving them 1-year experience. As you said, they're getting 1 year of experience in the classroom. I think this board and this parish needs to be made aware of that. This is not required. This is a group of dedicated people who are doing this. I didn't go into teaching for getting money. They're definitely not getting money, and they gave up their jobs, not for a semester, but for a whole year. Some of them are self-supporting, and it is a financial hardship for them. And please consider that when the next classes come through. If we want to recruit the top quality people, just like our teachers, we have to compensate them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Kuzan, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Tom, I just wanted to say one thing. I'm sure I'm glad your daughter looks like your wife. Hey, thank you for all your help and everything you've done out at Lee Road over the years. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to the science textbooks. Ms. LeBlanc, please.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent Falls, board members, good evening. I'm Arlena LeBlanc, and I will be sharing tonight the recommendations for this year's science textbook adoption. The last adoption for science was for 2011-2012 school year. We start first with the textbook adoption process. Our two textbook committees were composed of educators, parents, and community members. This year's science adoption spanned grades kindergarten through 12th grade and were divided into three divisions: elementary, kindergarten through 5th, junior high, 6th through 8th, and 9th through 12th science content areas for high school. There were a total of 106 committee members. Each school selected a teacher to serve as a representative for each grade level and for high school content areas. We had 21 parent and community members. Schools provided names of parents and community members who were willing to serve on this committee. At this time, there are no Tier 1 nor Tier 2 science textbooks available for all grades K through 12 listed on the Louisiana Department of Ed's website. There were 9 publishers who expressed an interest in participating in this year's adoption. However, 4 did not meet our minimum materials request requirement nor IT compatibility. This included the Tier 1 vendor that was listed on the state's website. Public notifications were released in November to media contacts such as The Farmer, The Times-Picayune, WDSU, WVUE, WWL, St. Tammany Government, and St. Tammany Federation. During the textbook adoption process, schools received textbook samples according to their grade levels. Viewing areas are set up and sample textbooks are on display at schools as well as for public sites. There were 2 public site locations, one on each end of the parish. At Brooks Educational Complex in Slidell for the east side of the parish. Harrison Curriculum Center in Covington for the west side of the parish. Viewing opportunities were available for teachers, parents, and community to peruse all materials. To ensure that all textbooks were judged based on content and instructional value, evaluation rubrics were used to address the major criterion categories, and they were content emphasis, student materials, instructional focus, assessment, teacher materials, and digital resources. Both teacher and parent committee members attended the textbook showcase, which was held January 12th at Lakeshore High School. And committee members were able to ask questions and learn more about the sample textbooks during the presentations from each participating publisher. Following the showcase, teacher committee members returned to schools to clarify and/or update their faculty with any newly learned information or ideas. Input was taken again and then brought to their faculty before submitting a recommendation that was representative of the majority of their school. Parent and community members were also allowed to submit recommendations. All committee members had the option to select none of the above, keep existing materials as their recommendation. To ensure all interested publishers could meet our district materials request and IT compatibility, Vendors had to submit a publisher screening form for approval. Also, each committee member was responsible for reviewing textbook samples using a rubric to guide evaluations, along with submitting comments regarding strengths and areas of concern. Teacher committee members encouraged their faculties to review sample materials using the evaluation rubrics. All input was considered from school, faculty, parents, and community. This is our timeline. We are midway through the process. Teacher materials and resources must be delivered to schools during the month of May before teachers leave for the summer. Professional development would be offered during the summer for those teachers able to attend and throughout the upcoming school year. All publishers recommended tonight are able to meet the remaining requirements and delivery dates noted in this timeline. Recommendations will be given in the following grades: kindergarten through 5th, 6th through 8th, and specific high school content areas. Our participating publishers are EMC, Goodhart Wilcox, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, McGraw-Hill, and Pearson. Our district has purchased in the past textbooks from each of the participating publishers. Now for the results. Kindergarten through 5th grade, McGraw-Hill received the highest percentage of votes at 46%. For 6th grade through 8th grade, McGraw-Hill received 60% of the votes. Physical science, McGraw-Hill with 100% of the votes. Our environmental science, HMH received 50% of the votes. Environmental science AP, Pearson led with 80% of the votes. Biology 1, Pearson with 62% of the votes. Biology 2, Pearson once again with 87% of the votes. Biology AP, Pearson with 100% of the votes. HMH received 55% of the votes. Chemistry AP, Pearson with 67% of the votes. Our physics, the publisher with the highest percentage was Pearson at 56%. Physics AP, 60% of the votes was received by Pearson. Forensics, Pearson with 100% of the votes. Anatomy and physiology, McGraw-Hill with 60% of the votes. For our health sciences 1, Goodhart Wilcox was the publisher with 83%. And for health sciences 2, Goodhart Wilcox with 50% of the votes. Our next steps would be to order materials, both teacher and student, and to schedule professional development for teachers prior to the end of the year and throughout the next school year. This concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. LeBlanc. Board members, Mr. Nation, would you have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Kuzan, and thank you, Mrs. LeBlanc, for a great presentation. First, I want to thank you for soliciting us, board members, earlier or last year, whenever, for recommendations for committee members, names. And while I didn't have any, I certainly appreciated that, and I said so to Mr. Foltz here a while back. Just two quick questions.
Sure.
One is, what's our budget, or what are we projecting dollar-wise to spend
Okay.
on, and you can give me the aggregate, I guess, the total.
Sure. Our estimated amount for this science adoption would be 3.4 million.
Got you. And I want you to talk just a little bit more about, you said that one of the textbooks was not on the Tier 1 state list.
One of the vendors.
Oh, okay.
Yes, one of the vendors that had pulled, there were 9 that were interested, but 4 did not meet our minimum requirements. And one of the 4 was the vendor that was listed on the state's website as a Tier 1 vendor.
So one of the state's vendors did not meet our requirements.
Correct.
Now, will that, in that particular case, will that impact us in any way? Because it's, okay. I see Dr. Sanford shaking her head, so that's all I needed to know.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Betancourt?
Thank you, Mr. Couzan. Ms. Lamont, just out of curiosity, the last one, Health Sciences 2, Goodhart Wilcox was 50%, but then they also came in second with 17. What, they 2 different textbooks or what?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that publisher submitted 2.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm new to this part.
Ms.
Is-
Lammy?
Oh, hey. Okay, I didn't know I was supposed to wait for my name. I'm trying to find out, just because I find it really interesting that all of the lower grades, and the 4 schools that I spoke with, the 3 that I represent and the one that my children attend, I got their just opinions, and one thing that was consistent was not Pearson. And so I'm looking and I see that based on the numbers, for the lower grades, Pearson was last on all of them. But then when you get up to the upper grades, Pearson was first in everything. So do you have an opinion about why? Is it just their content area? Because it makes me almost wonder if everybody in the lower grades were so adamantly against that, but then the upper grades are choosing it. Is there something that maybe,
Okay.
do you understand my question?
I do.
Okay,
I
okay.
really do. It's really the publishers and the textbooks that they present.
Just their preference
why.
in the layout and the way it
You got
is
it.
operated.
You got
And
it.
it's the content of the textbook. At the high school level, the content looks very different from the content at
Yes,
the
and I
lower
did see
level.
that.
So it was a total different look as well as the material.
Because I didn't see the high school, I only saw the elementary. So I was just curious, because I was like, that's so weird how it completely flopped for the upper and lower. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Richardson?
First of all, thank you, Ms. LeBlanc, for your work. That looks like it had several layers to the process. My question is simply this. I noticed you had mentioned the professional development, and you basically said for the teachers that can attend, will there be mandated professional development?
Yes. What will take place, we typically have Summer Institute.
Okay.
And so what we try to do is to have the publisher provide professional development during that time, and that's usually held in June. We understand that, some teachers may not be able to make it because of prior
Correct.
commitments, but we will have those built-in
Okay.
mandatory ones, and that's why we have it like in the school year, the
Yes.
upcoming school year.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And then my second question is to build upon Mr. Nation's question, the $3.4 million. Again, that's a huge investment that I'm glad we're making given the date that you presented. Can you give some kind of idea of what that means for the number of students? Does that mean every student will get a textbook, or just some clarification on that, if you wouldn't mind?
Sure. And I'll just start with the different divisions.
Okay.
For elementary and junior high and high school. What we do with this and the way that the pricing, it's for the textbook and online.
Okay.
And Ms. Richardson, this is a long-term contract. We looked at different pricing models, and always the longer your contract, the better your pricing model is.
Of course.
So our recommendation will be for a 6-year contract, and some of the materials include consumables, and we have checked with those publishers, and those consumables will be replenished annually.
Thank you. So if a student does not do well with an online textbook, will they be given the option of a hard copy? That's important
We
to
have
me.
all of them with
Wonderful.
hard copies and
That is so good to
online.
hear.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Mhm.
Mr. Dermott?
Thank you, Mr. Kuzan. Mr. LeBlanc, question on the chemistry one and the chemistry AP textbooks.
Yes.
And we're going with HMH on the chemistry one and then Pearson on the AP. And I'm curious as to if, I mean, there's only a slight difference between the chemistry one and so why would we change textbooks in chemistry one and AP?
And Mr. Derman, some of the differences between the AP textbooks have to do with the particular curriculum that AP requires of the teachers, and the AP teachers feel that that one is more aligned with the college requirement.
Okay, I was just curious. I mean, because really, I mean, you're talking about 5% difference in the selection, and keeping both of them Pearson. I don't know that if it's out of alignment or if it's just the pictures are prettier, and I'm just curious. That's the only reason why I'm asking, because I'm all about pictures. Yeah, I mean.
But the teachers know which ones they need to use for their class.
Well, Sam, can you give me?
AP has a certain list of books that are recommended, and some of those teachers might have looked at the recommendations from the AP College Board to determine their vote. Because
Okay.
there are some that are more stringently aligned to the AP curriculum than others.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Drucker?
Mike, you stole my question. But anyhow, I mean, that really caught my attention because I'm thinking, if you're taking chemistry AP and you've got stringent requirements, what about those who are in chemistry 1, 2 as well? That's just food for thought, because they're only 10% difference. And again, I'm gonna yield to those. I did not go through the textbook adoption and listen to all the different manufacturers, so the publishers come in. But, it's very marginal. That's what I was thinking.
The AP exam, they're preparing the students to take the AP exam, and in order for the student to get the college credit, they have to make a 3 or higher on that AP exam. Many of the teachers have gone through the courses and aligned their curriculum directly to the release test items, so their chances are they're looking back at that particular release test item in comparison to that textbook to make that decision.
Also, I want to make sure and just kind of echo and just correct me. In regards to all these books will have online components. So
Correct.
all the students will be able to go online. If they don't have their textbooks, they can still do their homework and whatnot. And also there's a component as far as, if you want to call it tutoring portion of it too as well, or revisiting what the teacher has taught as far as questions. And I just remember this when we did our math textbook adoptions.
Right. Teachers will have their usual teacher's manuals along with the online resources. And with the online resources comes everything, that they need. The assessments, the tutorials, videos, things of that nature. Students will have the hard copy, and in the lower grades, the K through 5, they're consumable. So they will be able to actually work right there in those books. They will also have the online availability for it.
I think that's great because they don't have to tug along a big textbook, and those textbooks could remain home. Is that correct? Or do they have to go back and forth?
The textbook most likely would need to come with them because it is consumable, so that they have assignments and experiments right there in that book. But they would be able to access it. If by chance they had left it at school and needed to work on something at home, yes, they would be able to do that. And have that printing feature to bring it back in.
Good.
Okay.
And then the 6-year contract that you spoke about. So the 6-year contract, the $3.4 million that we're talking about includes the entire 6-year contract and replacement of all the consumables. So we would not have to pay anything extra. Is that accurate?
Absolutely, yes.
It locks in the price. If we needed to order more textbooks, that, let's just pick a number. So let's say that we ordered 2,000 books at the 6-8 level. If we needed to increase and order 100 more, we're locked in at that original price for that 6-year contract. So
Sounds like you're forecasting a lot of growth for our area. But anyhow, so we're price locked in there. So that's good for us within the next 6 years. How often do we do our textbook adoptions, as far as when are these kind of obsolete that we have to go back and do a textbook adoption for science?
This is really great because that's why I opened with, it's been a minute since we did. We held off on it last year because of the new science standards, so we wanted the textbook vendors to kind of catch up. We work on 6-year cycles. So every year, we will have an adoption for a different content area. And so science would be good for 6 years.
And thank you very much, Ms. LeBlanc, because I know this is a huge undertaking, because I actually sat through textbook adoption for math. And so to actually coordinate all the publishers to come here and actually see, talk, and look and feel with those textbooks, and having 116 committee members to go through this and to choose. I mean, you're really having your stakeholders really take part in making a choice in our children's textbooks.
Well, I tell you, thank you so much, and it was a team effort with Gwen Gaspard right by my side the entire time, so.
Well, congratulations. Thank you for all the hard work.
Mr. Green?
Thank you. Is it the recommendation that we accept the one with the highest percentage across the grade? So
Correct.
is there any benefit at all if, for instance, chemistry 1, where it's pretty close and there may be, by margin of error, it could swing either way. Would there be any volume buying, pricing benefit to use bundling a Pearson with other subjects that we're going to use Pearson for?
Well,
significantly discount, I guess.
Okay, and I would say no, because the committee members, they were the ones, and it's the teachers that had made the recommendations, looking at all of the needs that they need to have, along with the standards that's found in that. So I would.
we would have to put it back out to the vote of the chemistry teachers who voted, and chances are you might end up with the same result, but we did allow all committee members to vote.
And my question is only that if we could save a couple $100,000 by using Pearson there, then it might be worth exploring.
Okay.
The Chemistry 1 books are predicted to be $217,000. So, you're not talking, chances are the other textbook publisher is going to come in somewhat close to that, so your savings might be negligible.
Mr. Broke?
Thank you. My first question was, when I looked through this material prior to the meeting, I saw several of the books that had 100%, and I said, oh, there was only one competitor. But I think that what you're telling me is that may have been multiple competitors, but the candidate was so strong that it got 100% of the votes. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Exactly.
Second, you mentioned the online, that there's an IT component to all this. Do we anticipate, maybe not now, but in the next few years, that we may be able to save money on hard copy, being that, we mentioned that the children may not have to bring heavy books home, that we could have this stuff online? Would obviously soft copy is a lot cheaper than hard copy. Is that reflected in the price, or do we anticipate in the future years that we may be paying less on textbooks due to soft copy and IT?
Textbook publishers have become very savvy to that regard. So if you look at the price of an online access versus online plus a hard copy, it's negligible.
So they're going to get you either way?
Yes, sir.
You got it.
Okay. Mr. Beckencourt?
Thank you. Dr. Sanford, I picked up on something you said earlier, where to pass an AP course you needed a 3, and it just thought that, geez, when I was in school, if all I needed was a 3, I could have been on the honor roll. I might have been at the top of my class. I should have waited to go to school.
Thank you, Mr. Betancourt. We're gonna move on to item C, recommendation to accept, I'll need a motion to accept the textbook committee recommendation.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Mrs. Drucker and second by Mr. Betancourt. Okay, we're gonna vote. Can we have a vote, please?
Mr. Kuzan, you might want to ask if there's any comments from the public.
I didn't think we had to do that. I was told we didn't have to ask for comments of public on this, but okay.
No, anytime there's a vote. Anytime
Okay.
there's a vote.
Any comments from the public? I'm sorry.
No problem. Lauren Bethencourt. I'm a Boyette science teacher, and I just want to thank Mrs. Arlena LeBlanc and your team for this process. I know it's very strenuous. You'll put in a lot of hours. Mr. Durman, I just wanted to address the comment you made about pictures earlier. I just want to, put your mind at ease that as a science teacher, we've spent multiple weeks during our planning periods going over every single textbook, and I think the vote comes from us as teachers based on rigor, scope and sequence, and also that digital aspect that y'all have been talking about, especially with the Chromebook pilot. A lot of it goes hand in hand. So, I know that you're kind of wondering, like, where is our thought process on this? And for me, going through the process, that's where our hearts and minds were with it. So, thank you.
Well, actually, I'm a very visual learner, so I actually do like pictures.
I understand. The pictures have to be on point. I understand.
I'm a slow reader, but I like looking at pictures a lot, so.
I appreciate
I wasn't
it.
being funny, I was really being sincere.
I know. When you said the pictures, I was like, oh man, there's so much more into that. So we're a well-rounded textbook committee.
Thank you for the
it.
comment. Thank you very much. Now we'd like to move on to motion to accept the textbooks committee by, motion by Ms. Drucker, second by Mr. Betancourt. Would you please vote?
Yeah, they didn't show it. All yays.
The motion passes 15 to 0.
Mr. Kuzan,
Yes.
can I make a comment?
Yes?
That's why she's a teacher of the year.
That's it? That's it, huh? Okay, this concludes our meeting for the night. I'd like to say that we can now adjourn.